Hello and welcome to this short lesson about what arousal, stress and anxiety are, and this will help you to begin your road to achieving the P3 criteria for psychology for sports performance. So this is what we're going to be doing, so quickly pause this, have a look what you're going to be doing by the end of this session, be able to say what arousal, stress and anxiety are, and then also say about how they link into each other. So the first is arousal. Now we can see here that we've outlined it's all about the body. So this, as we know, means physiological, and it's all about when our bodies react to the place or situation that we're in and begin to switch on, as it were. So we have a look at our guy here. We can see I've outlined his lungs and also his heart. So as we know, when we play sports, our breathing rate increases, our heart rate increases. Now this can actually happen before we actually take part. So it's not actually the exercise doing it, but it's the thought of doing it. So the thought actually controls our body. And it's all about, that's what arousal is, all about the physiology, about the breathing and the heart rate. So it's neither positive or negative, just a reaction. So we've seen how the body reacts to environments that may be stressful, but what actually is stress? We're going to look at stress in two ways, both positive and negative. So positive or good stress is maybe that really competitive situation that you actually might seek out or feel fulfilled. And we have Carlos here on the right, and he sought out the Champions League final, and playing in that is a very stressful environment, but he's really enjoyed it, and now because of the sense of achievement of winning the Champions League. So he's felt happy and fulfilled as a result of that. The opposite of this is distress, where in a competitive environment, one person may then begin to feel nervous, apprehensive or worried. Now we all know this kind of person, or may have felt it ourselves in different situations. So it's actually the negative effects of a high stress environment that they have on us, and we don't feel positive, we don't feel motivated, we actually feel all of these things that we've mentioned. Now why do we get stressed? This is because it is a sort of an evolutionary hangover really. As we're animals, we have a fight or flight reflex. Now this is when presented with a stressful environment, our bodies either want to do one of two things. They either want to fight or they want to flight, which means to run away. An evolutionary thing would be, as animals, if there was a predator, we would either have to fight it or we would have to run away from it. And now, and we even feel this within sporting situations. Do we step up and do we perform, or do we want to shy away and run away? Now, an interesting one here, we have this lady is in her office gear, when she may have a stressful situation, but there's no way she can either fight it or flight it. This is when you actually have negative effects come in. Because of perhaps work deadlines, they become stressed, but they can neither do the two things that their body is built to do. And so therefore the negative effects then can build up. Moving on to what anxiety is, this is actually the step beyond stress. This is when you actually have a really negative effect, very similar to distress, and you have the feelings of nervous and apprehension of worry that we've already talked about. But it is definitely negative, and it's actually the one beyond. So we've had our two old friends here, state and trait. And if we have a look at this gentleman on the right, he became anxious or became nervous because of actually having to play in this football match. So that would be what's called the state or situational. Or we could say because of what's going on in his head and because of what he actually is, he may be a naturally nervous person and want to avoid high stress or big matches. So then that's why he becomes anxious, because it's ingrained in him. He was born like that. And that essentially is what all of these three things are. So we have our arousal, which is just our body switching on. This can then lead to either positive or negative stress, which we've already talked about. And then if things get too out of hand, this leads to the negative effect of what actually is anxiety. I'm just going to make that short there. And that essentially is a definition of the three things. thank you for watching. I want you to now log on to the memrise course, and the link will be provided here on this YouTube video, and I want you to at least complete and learn these 3 things, which is arousal, stress and anxiety. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to seeing you guys in class.